My son was broken when his father gave away his dream car to his stepbrother, but I never gave up on healing our family. It was a cool autumn evening, and I sat in the dim light of the living room, looking at the flickering flames in the fireplace. The smell of burnt wood filled the air, and I wrapped my arms around myself, wishing I could find warmth in memories instead. My son, Alex, had been distant for months now, ever since that day his father, John, made a choice that shattered their bond. John and I had been through our share of struggles, but I had always hoped that despite our differences, we could co-parent Alex in a way that would let him know he was loved. But the promise John had made to Alex, the promise to give him the Chevrolet Chevelle he had cherished since he was a child, seemed to mean nothing the day he gave it to his stepson, Daniel, instead. I remember how excited Alex had been when he first learned about the car. He would sit in the driveway, eyes sparkling, dreaming of the day it would be his. It wasn't just a car, it represented the bond between father and son, the shared moments of laughter and learning in the garage, the nights spent discussing engines and racing. But when John texted Alex a photo of Daniel behind the wheel, everything changed. The shock on Alex's face when he called his father was a moment I would never forget. "Is this a joke?" Alex shouted through the phone, disbelief lacing his words. I stood in the hallway, listening, my heart aching for both of them. I knew how much this meant to Alex, how deep the cut would be. I thought he deserved it. He worked hard. John had yelled back, defending his choice, but the damage was done. In that heated exchange, they both said things they would come to regret. The pain in Alex's voice was like a knife to my heart. In the weeks that followed, Alex withdrew into himself. The laughter that once filled our home was replaced by silence. He spent hours in his room, tinkering with old toy cars, his only solace. I tried to reach out, to comfort him, but he wouldn't let me in. He felt abandoned, unwanted, and I could do nothing but watch as my son spiraled into sadness. One day, I mustered the courage to confront John. "He's hurting, John. You need to reach out to him. This is about more than just a car." "He doesn't understand. I'm proud of Daniel, too. I can't take back the decision I made," John replied, his voice heavy with guilt. "But I can't keep reaching out if he won't respond. Maybe he just needs to hear that you still care, even if he's angry. You have to be the one to make the first move," I urged, knowing that John had a choice to make. Days turned into weeks, and I could see the toll this was taking on both of them. I decided to step in, hoping to mend the rift between them. I reached out to John again, this time with a plan. "What if we arrange a family dinner? Just us three, Alex, you, and me. It might give you both a chance to talk things out." John hesitated, but finally he agreed. I could hear the uncertainty in his voice. "I just don't know if he'll want to talk." "We have to try," I said, my heart filled with hope. I spent the next few days preparing for the dinner, trying to create an atmosphere of warmth and understanding. I set the table with our favorite dishes, filling the room with the aroma of home-cooked meals. But as the time drew closer, I felt the weight of anxiety. What if this only deepened the wounds? What if Alex wasn't ready to forgive? When John arrived, he looked nervous, his hands shoved deep into his pockets. I tried to encourage him with a reassuring smile. "It'll be okay. Just be honest with him." When Alex walked through the door, his eyes met his father's, and for a moment, time stood still. The tension was palpable. I could see the anger flickering behind Alex's eyes, but there was also a hint of sadness, longing for connection. "Thanks for inviting me," Alex muttered, not making eye contact. We sat down at the table, and the silence stretched between us like a chasm. I knew I had to break it. "Alex, I know things have been tough between you and your dad, but we're here together because we care about you." John nodded, his voice shaky. "I'm really sorry for what I did, Alex. I didn't think about how it would affect you. I was just trying to do something nice for Daniel, but I should have considered your feelings first." Alex looked up, surprise flickering across his face. "You didn't even ask me. I thought I meant something to you." "I know I messed up," John replied, his voice filled with regret. "I was selfish. I didn't realize how much that car represented for us. I was wrong to take it away from you." For a moment, the air hung heavy with unsaid words. I could see Alex wrestling with his emotions. Finally he spoke, his voice quiet but resolute. I just wanted to feel like I mattered, like I was still your son. You promised me that car, and when you gave it away, it felt like you gave away everything we had." "I'm so sorry," John said, tears brimming in his eyes. "I didn't mean to make you feel that way. I want to fix this, to make it right. You're my son, and I love you." Alex's walls began to crack, and I could see the hurt slowly morphing into understanding. "It's going to take time," he said, a tremor in his voice. "You can't just expect me to forgive you overnight." "I know. I'll be patient. I'll do whatever it takes," John replied, determination replacing despair. As the night wore on, the three of us shared stories and laughter, and for the first time in months, the heaviness in the room began to lift. It wouldn't be an easy journey, but I felt a glimmer of hope. Maybe this dinner was the first step toward healing their relationship, to bridge over the chasm of hurt. In the weeks that followed, I watched as John reached out more often, making an effort to connect with Alex. He invited him to the garage to work on cars, just like they used to. Slowly, their relationship began to mend, each moment building back the trust that had been lost. One evening, as I was preparing dinner, I heard the sound of laughter coming from the garage. I peeked through the window and saw John and Alex bent over an engine, their heads close together, lost in conversation. The sight filled my heart with warmth. Later that night, as we sat together for dinner, Alex looked at his father and said, "You know, maybe one day I'll take that Chevelle for a spin, just like we talked about when I was a kid." John smiled, hope gleaming in his eyes. "I'd like that, and I promise this time I'll make sure it's yours." And at that moment, I knew that despite the challenges they had faced, they were on a path to healing. The road ahead wouldn't be easy, but it was filled with possibilities. As a mother, all I wanted was for my son to know he was loved and valued, and for his relationship with his father to thrive once again. Months later, as I watched the two of them working together in the garage, I felt a sense of peace settle over me. The bonds of family were fragile but resilient, and sometimes it took a little help from the outside to mend what was broken. Love could pave the way for forgiveness. And as I stood there, witnessing their laughter and shared dreams, I realized that hope always had a way of finding its way back home.